This is Angela Cox, and I am here at Southern Middle School, and we are going to learn what the next step is in making our bear, right? So we have cut out our bear pattern. I have two little bears. I've trimmed them up, and now my next step is sewing on the eyes, right? So first of all, I have to decide the eyes are only going to go on the face. So I have to pick which way I want my eyes to face, right? Do I want it on this side or I want it on this side? So I'm going to pick this one, right? And I only put my eyes through one layer of the fabric. So this fabric I'm going to set to the side, and I'll use it later. Now, before I begin, I need to choose some buttons that I am going to use for the eyes, right? I've picked these little green guys right here. I also need some thread, and I need my threaded needle, right? So here's my needle, and I have it threaded with my big ugly knot at the end, right? And I'm going to need some scissors or some shears. So step number one, I got to figure out where I want to put these eyes, right? I want my eyes right here. Now remember, this is my teddy bear's neck, right here. So I don't want him down here, because then it would look like his eyes were on his chin. I kind of want them even with the bottom of the ears. So I'm going to want them like maybe right around here. And when I put my eyes on, I don't want them too far apart. I don't want them like this. I want them together in the middle, no more than 1 finger width apart, right? So I'm going to put my little eyes right here, okay? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with one eye. So I'm going to start with this one, okay? And I will set this one to the side. Now, I am going to start by coming up from the back. Right, this is the right side of my fabric, the fuzzy side, and the wrong side of my fabric is over here. So I'm going to decide where I wanted it, right, and I'm just going to poke my needle up from the back like that. And it's really important that I pull it tight, right, pull it really tight. Now, my ugly knot kind of came up through here, so if that happens to you, that means that you need a bigger knot, right? So I'm going to need to make this knot again, because this looks a mess, right? So I'm just going to cut this off. And it's really important. It's one of the reasons that it's so important that you make sure that your knot is a large knot so that it doesn't pull through the fabric. So I'm going to make that knot again. I'm just going to make it bigger this time. I want to make sure that it does not fall through the edge of my fabric, right? So let me try that again. Get rid of there. Pop it up and make absolutely sure that it's not going to pull through my fabric. There. Alright? Then I'm going to put my button on and just slide it right through. And then I want to decide, how do I want this button positioned, right? And I'm going to want it this way. Then I have to decide, well, how do I want to sew it? Do I want 2 equal lines here? Do I want an X through the middle? It doesn't matter what you pick. It can be in any pattern you want, as long as it's the same, right? So I think I'm going to do an X through the middle. So I'm going to come up and go back down. Remember we talked about the dolphin in the water, right? I'm going to go up from the back, and then I'm going to go back down through the other hole, just like this. And again, I'm going to go up through the back, and I want to sew this on at least 3 times, right? So I have it 3 times on this one, and then I have to go through the other hole, right? So I have one side done, and then I need to do it through the other hole. So I'm going to come up right here, and then I'm going to go on the other side, And right there it kind of poked through my fabric, so don't do that. Make sure it only goes through this one layer. And then I need to do it 2 more times. Always at least 3 times on one side, and at least 3 times on the other. Right? 1, 2, and then I have 3. Now, once I have the button sewed this way, remember, I want to make sure that my little buttony button is not going to come out, so I need to give it a shank, a thread shank. So to do that, I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to come up from the back side of the fabric, just like I've been doing, and I am going to bring the needle out underneath the button, but not through the button, right? So it looks like a needle's coming out of the top of his eye. Okay? So I got him through there, and I'm just going to wrap it around that button 3 times. 1, 2, 3, just like that. And then I'm going to poke it back down through so that I can tie off my knot. And whoops, look what I see what I did here. When I took him back down through, I accidentally poked through the fabric here. Don't want to do that. Right, so I have him through here. You can see him right there. And then somewhere back here, behind this button where no one will see it, I need to tie it off. So I got all kinds of ugly stuff back here. That does not matter one bit. I'm going to go in and out, just make one little stitch through that fabric, right? 1, and do you see how I get this loop? I'm going to go through the loop so that it ties it to it. 1, and we do it again. Always do it 3 times, because nothing is more annoying than sewing on a button and then the button falls off. Right? 3. And then I'm going to cut that off. And so there I have my one eye. One eye is right there. But my little bear doesn't need only one eye. He needs 2 eyes. So remember, no more than a finger width apart. I'm going to put my other button on this side. And it's really important that you have the front side facing up. Right? So I'm going to have that front side of that button facing up. Put my finger right in the middle, and then that's where I'm going to put my button. Now, I need more thread. This is not enough thread to sew on a button. Right? So I'm going to re-thread my needle. And remember, when you re-thread your needle, make sure that you use a double thread. Right? So that means half the sewing. So I'm going to take it through here. And I want about to my elbow. Right? So I have the double thread. It's going to go about to my elbow. I can cut it off right here. And then make it kind of even here at the bottom. And then my big ugly knot goes at the bottom. Right? What I don't want to have happen is I don't want my knot to be too wimpy and it went through my fabric like it did last time. 1, 2, 3. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And then push it straight down so I get my big ugly knot. Here's my big ugly knot. Right? And I got a lot of little hangies down here. I'm going to cut them off there. Alright. So again, I want to have my button here. And I'm just going to do a little poke, see where it pops up. And then I'm going to pull it all the way through. Right? Remember the flying carpet? Pull it all the way through. Now I want my button to match how I did the other button. And since I did an X on the other one, I want to do an X on this one. So, 1, right? Got my X here. I'm just going to wiggle that button around a little bit. And then, remember, I always come up from the back right in the same spot. And be careful when you come up from the back, be careful that you only get it through this one layer of fabric. So I'm coming up from the back here, I pull, and then I'm going to go down across the other side. How many times? At least 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then I need to do the other side of my button. See how my button there? And I need to do the other side. So I'm going to go on this side. And then I'm going to go the other way 3 times. 1, 2, and then 3. 3 right here. Oops, wrong hole. 3. Now I'm ready. I gotta do my thread shank. So I have them all sewed on. So I gotta shore up those threads underneath. So I'm gonna go from the underside, underneath, right? I'm gonna go from the underside, and I'm gonna poke my needle just like that. So it looks like he has a needle sticking up out of his eye, right? I'm gonna pull the thread to this side, and then I wrap that thread around the button 3 times. 1. Time it is. 1, 2, 3. Right? It's going to shore up those threads under there, and then I got to go back to the bottom side. So I'm going to poke my needle right back down through there, and I'm going to pull it through. Make sure I get all my little threads, and then I need to tie it off. Right? So I'm right behind this button. I'm just going to make a little stitch in and out. And see my loop? I'm going to go through the loop and tie it just like that. See if I can zoom in here. Oh, I can. Right? So again, I just make one little stitch in and out, and then just pull it over. I see my little loop. I'm going to go through the loop, 2, and then one more time, in and out, through the loop. Goodness gracious. And then pull it off just like that. And now I'm going to cut this with my little scissors. And I have my 2 little berry bear eyes right here in the middle. They don't have to be perfectly lined up, right? As long as they're close. So it's nice when they're a little bit different, gives them some character. And that's it. That's how you sew the eyes on your bear.